For better or for worse, the adidas Defiant Generation has been one of the most unique and misunderstood tennis shoes I've tried this year. You know, and for good reason. I mean, the Defiant Generations only retail for between $70 and $89 US, even in this new limited edition Stan Smith colorway. Plus, it has the same overall shape and lines of the much more expensive Ubersonic 4, with more forgiving and soft uppers, as well as a more resilient bounce midsole. So all of this begs the question, why is this a less expensive shoe, and is it better than the Ubersonic 4? Hey, what's up? Zach here. And yeah, today I've got the Stan Smith edition of the adidas Defiant Generation. This is a limited edition colorway. I really wanted to try it anyway, just for the Stan Smith edition. This was a shoe I have gotten a lot of questions and comments on, and I was really interested in trying it because from 30,000 feet, it does look a lot like the Ubersonic 4, just at that lower price point. But looks can be really deceiving, especially when you actually hold them both together. The Ubersonic 4 just feels like a much lighter shoe. The next big difference between the Defiant Generation and the Ubersonic comes in the uppers. The Defiant Generation, in contrast to the Ubersonic, have ridiculously plush uppers. They are some of the most comfortable I've put on this year. Absolutely zero break-in time, and they've got a really nice padded ankle collar. So when you put your foot in there, it really feels like it is just kind of putting a hug around your Achilles tendon and inside and outside of your ankle. But you know, the softer the uppers are, remember, it's a slipper tongue, so you are going to start to move around a lot more versus a shoe that is a more traditional three-piece. So whereas the Ubersonic 4s have a really kind of rigid upper, so they tie down better, these with the real soft uppers, you do start to feel like you're folding around a little bit. And what's cool is that you have all this really plush, comfortable bunting underneath where your foot comes into contact, but on the outside is more of a canvas layer. Because if you look at the upper durability test of the Dremel 10 seconds highest grit sandpaper, I mean, really barely a scuff on that canvas layer. So even though it is a softer upper, it still does hold up against a lot of abrasion. You just really notice those soft uppers that don't really give you a lot of security when going side to side. Because when I'm trying to plant for a slice backhand or a wide forehand, I do feel my forefoot starting to curl on my rear foot, and that's just the precursor to breaking a metatarsal bone or having a midfoot sprain. So just make sure you watch out for that when going side to side with these shoes. And the other thing I noticed about the uppers I didn't really get an appreciation for until after playing in them was that the uppers just held on to moisture so much. Now, it was really humid when playing. However, I've been trying a lot of shoes out in the really hot, humid conditions this summer. My feet just still felt like they were in a swamp with these. And that's because of all that padding underneath, and the canvas over top of it just really retains all that moisture. Now, on the midsole teardown, as you can see, these do not have the biggest stack in the world, only a 2 centimeter stack height in the heel and a 1 centimeter heel to toe drop. So you're not getting a ton of that bounce foam, even though it is a full bed of bounce. Now, the other thing you can see here is, in contrast to the Ubersonic 4, there is no rigid shank in the Defiant Generation. So in initial performance, they actually do give you a little bit of bounce because, you know, the foam in there is really responsive. And if you look at the serve test, when I first put these shoes on, the first thing I did, serve test, 28 centimeter average, which is pretty good for a shoe with only a 2 centimeter stack height. However, after the third time playing in these, when I went to just go out and do the suicide test, 15.22 seconds, which is like a snail's pace for me at this point. And that's just because after 3 days of playing in these shoes, I had already started to wear them down, and the shoe was already starting to lose performance because it didn't have anything rigid holding it up. You know, serving in these shoes really just kind of brings that teardown to life. As you can see, what I was talking about in the teardown, the sum of the shoe needs to be greater than all of its parts. And what I mean by that is, just because this shoe has bounce foam versus the Ubersonic's light strike foam, which should give you more resilience, bounce for lack of a better word, and just explosiveness, because the overall construction of this shoe just isn't where the Ubersonic 4 is, just doesn't perform as well either. Now, the outsole tread of the Defiant Generation, in contrast to the Ubersonic 4, is one continuous bed of rubber without any of the break points. It does give you an outstanding grip in terms of the outsole on a hard court. As you can also see under the big toe joint here, this is a linear herringbone pattern versus on the Ubersonic 4 under the big toe joint, which is horizontal. So sliding on a hard court in the Defiant Generation does just slide a tad bit more smoothly versus on the Ubersonic 4. But the actual herringbone on the Defiant Generation is a little bit wider than on the Ubersonic 4, so it doesn't have the grit that the Ubersonic 4 does. And like I said, even in the all-quart version of the Ubersonic 4, it grips clay really well, whereas the Defiant Generation, you're gonna be sliding like an ice skating rink. Now, I like the continuous tread pattern of the Defiant Generation. However, it doesn't have the rigid shank underneath of it, so you are getting a lot of ground contact, and the shoe does feel stable on the tread. However, it kind of feels like a flat pancake or a piece of cardboard under your foot, because it's just not giving you any cantilevering and no rigid beam to push off of. One thing I'm noticing about the shoes, it's really starting to bother me, is when I'm going up to serve and volley, split stepping, and all my body weight's moving forward and I'm trying to stop. Because the uppers, again, are so soft, my feet are just sliding in and I am jamming my toes, and I can just feel it over and over again. At tomorrow, one of those toes is gonna be bloody. Now on the outsole durability test of the Dremel 10-second tightest grit sandpaper, you are getting a pretty good value in this tread, not even a millimeter of damage. So in terms of durability, both upper and on the outsole, these shoes do hold their weight. The one thing they are is pretty nimble. I mean, it's kind of easy to get out of your own way in them. You just got to watch out because, like I said, that slipper tongue sometimes just allows your ankle to move back and forth a little bit. Now, the fit of the Defiant Generation is very generous, even in its standard width. It does accommodate plenty of foot types, even up to a 2E, which is my foot type. I had 0 break-in on these. Now, somebody with a lot of heel pain or somebody that suffers from a little bit of ball of foot pain, definitely avoid these just because the stack is so small. You're going to be feeling the ground pretty quick. But I think overall, if you look at the Defiant Generation versus the Ubersonic 4, you can see there's just some really small things missing in the Defiant Generation that just make it a shoe that's just not a really high-level performance shoe versus the Ubersonic 4, which is just all about high-level performance. And even though both of them aren't the most durable shoes out there in the midsole category, Defiant Generation because there's no shank, Ubersonic 4 because of the light strike foam, the Defiant Generation, even after 3 uses, the shoe is just becoming really uncomfortable to play in. However, I do think if you're looking for a shoe just for casual play or just for kicking around, you want a comfortable tennis shoe to walk around in, the Defiant Generation is awesome. I mean, it is still a very comfortable shoe, and I do like the styling of it as well. However, if you're high level playing, just spend the extra money and get the Ubersonic 4 if you like this design of shoe. So if you want to see the rest of Adidas's 2021 tennis shoe lineup, make sure you click into the video up above and subscribe down below. Respect your rubber and foam. I have no idea why he still plays with me. I'll see you in the next video.